Hello, listeners. Before we start, I just want to remind you you can listen to Nighttime early and ad free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Handsome Aaron Airport. It's time to keep Canada weird for our 178th time, not considering bonus episodes and mailbags and those sorts of things. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. How are you tonight?
I'm out of sorts. Today has been a whirlwind for a whole bunch of reasons. For one, tomorrow is back to school here in Nova Scotia, so that's kind of had me like shifting gears from sleeping in, lazing around to getting up early and getting kids to school. So that's, I'm at the beginning of a transition, but there is some big breaking news, a developing story, and I wonder if you know anything about this. Do you know what happened today?
I don't know. I'm sure.
I'm serious. It's big news.
This is big news. Okay.
You'll never guess. Let me just tell you. I'll
Okay,
save you.
great.
I hate
All
when people make you guess.
What a fun game when I can't guess.
So we have talked in the past quite a bit about the Queen of Canada.
Oh.
The AKA the QAnon Queen of Canada, Romana Digiolo.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners of Keep Canada Weird may recall us talking about Romana Digiolo quite a bit. Maybe in probably between like episode 50 and 100, kind of in that area. For people unfamiliar with this phenomenon, we've talked about her a lot. I don't need to give all the background. I've done like 5 or 6 episodes about her. For the last, I think about year and a half, Romana Digiolo and her, I'm going to call them a cult, and her cult had been living in an abandoned schoolhouse in a small town called Richmond, Saskatchewan. The town had been trying to get this cult out of the city and out of the schoolhouse, but for the last year and a half, it's just, I guess just been festering there like an open sore. All hell broke loose today. A whole bunch of RCMP vehicles stormed the compound, the abandoned school, arrested a whole bunch of them, including Romana Digiolo, possibly putting an end to 5 years of nonsense. And it doesn't sound good. It sounds like they found a bunch of weapons and everything in there.
Wow, really? This is shocking. Now our queen has been put in jail.
Our actual queen. And for any people unfamiliar with Romana Digiolo's story, listen to my prior episodes first off, and then Google her story. It is just so unbelievable and off the wall bonkers, but I think it's probably coming to an end, which is just big. I wanted to start the episode with that, but we got something else we got to get into. Actually, we got 2 other things. We got to get into the week's weird Canadian news stories, and we also have to unveil our special drinks for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If you're new to the show, the special drinks segment is a moment for Aaron and I to open our special drinks, take a sip, and look forward to what's to come in the weird news segment. Tonight, Aaron, I have one of those Wonka candy cans. This one has no sugar in it, yet somehow it's alleged to taste like caramel fudge.
Wow, caramel fudge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells good.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. I don't say oh my goodness lightly. That's delicious. Do you got a drink over there?
I do have a drink, but it's
Thank
a
God.
staple drink. Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
Last week you had a fountain pop. This week you have a staple drink.
Yeah.
Just show us.
Well, do
Hype
you have
it up.
something to say? Do you have something to say to me?
Yeah, I think you're really letting the special drink segment slip. I look forward to this all week. Like, I can't wait to drink something at the beginning of the show with Aaron next week. I wonder what he'll have. I have a fountain pop from Wendy's last week.
That was pretty special. And it was a Wendy's Wednesday cup. That's really
Wow.
special.
A movie tie-in at a fast food joint. What do you got this week? Blow my mind.
I have a sugar-free, caffeine-free Coca-Cola.
You madman. Crack it open.
Ooh, ah. Old Faithful, down the hatch.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you got something special. I look forward to tonight. We got a lot of great stories. Again, we're going to be recapping the week's weirdest, most offbeat, most exciting and unusual Canadian stories. We're going to hear our first segment on stories related to stairs. We've done tires, we've done seniors, we've tried getting people to date each other. Tonight we're doing stairs. But before we get into those stories, I want to open with something that's exciting and new to me. I've never heard of Francis the Pig. Do you know anything about Francis the Pig before tonight?
Before tonight? No, I've never
Yeah.
heard of Francis the Pig. There are many famous pigs in the world. Wilbur from Charlotte's Web, that's a
Hmm.
famous pig. Can you think of any other famous pigs that exist?
Um, Porky the Pig, but was that was like a cartoon like a long, long
Yeah,
time
the
ago.
sure. Well, yeah, well,
Dumbo? Or no, that's an
no, that's an
elephant.
elephant.
Oh,
Mm,
Orson from Garfield and Friends.
sure, yeah, great.
I think that's a pig.
All wonderful pigs.
Mhm. Well, Francis the pig is another wonderful pig. He's one of Red Deer, Alberta's most famous past residents. Let me tell you a bit about him. In 1990, a pig named Francis made a daring leap over a Red Deer slaughterhouse fence, and in doing so, captured international attention as he evaded capture for 5 months. This week, locals gathered to celebrate Francis's legacy with the unveiling of a new bronze statue honoring the city's most famous escape artist. Let's listen to a little bit of news related to Francis the Pig's memorial.
The city of Red Deer is preparing to welcome home one of its most famous residents. Francis the Pig disappeared for a couple of years to allow the artist to reinforce the bronze statue's base to prevent theft.
He's smiling.
Donik Moshchensky has a smile of his own, knowing he helped keep the bronze sculpture he made of the iconic Francis the Pig safe. In 2023, while showing a friend his work, he noticed the sculpture mounts had been cut.
The only thing that I could imagine is that somebody had prepared it to steal that very night.
So once that was noticed, we immediately took Francis off display.
In the summer of 1990, Francis the Pig escaped a slaughterhouse in Red Deer, jumping over a 4-foot wall around the kill floor, making his way outside to freedom.
The story became national news and I believe was even covered internationally.
The pig eluded capture for months. People reported sightings, and school kids sent letters pleading for the pig to be saved.
Here was this pig that tested the odds and rebelled against the system and managed to escape to freedom. And people loved that. People loved that this little guy had created his own chance for himself.
His story was immortalized in the sculpture that went on display in 1998. It's taken nearly 2 years to create a new base for Francis.
There are 2 upright rails from a railroad in there, so there's not going to be much of a way to saw through all that.
Francis is now in his new home near the Central Spray and Play Park.
So as you hear, this is actually the second memorial for Francis. There was a statue. Sounds like someone tried to steal it, but the artist kind of happened upon them as they had already sawed like halfway through its base. There's now a new monument to a pig that escaped. Is this anything? Is this weird news?
Yeah, it's weird news. This just checks all of our boxes, I think. It's intriguing because you have somebody wanting to steal this statue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, again, sometimes when you have stories where somebody is stealing something very unique and unusual, you think, how are you going to be able to sell this without getting caught?
Scrap metal. 'Cause I think it was like there was bronze, or it looked bronze, so maybe someone was going to steal it for that reason, but that didn't happen. This story came to us from a correspondent named Michelle, who thought this could maybe be some of the early movements in an animal uprising type situation. Because again, this is a pig that was being led to slaughter, not only escaped from the kill floor, I didn't know they called it that, but escaped by jumping over this fence and managed to evade capture for 5 months. Pretty interesting for a pig. I would have expected less from a pig.
Why?
I see this to be behavior of like something like hyper intelligent, a cat, a dog. I picture pigs and cows kind of on the same level as far as like agility and escaping and stuff go.
Sure, I can see agility. I mean, pigs are very fast. I've never really seen a pig jump like really, really high, but obviously,
4 feet.
yeah, obviously they can. We've seen it here, and in terms of intelligence, I would imagine pigs to be intelligent. It's just because we see them in the way that we have them, in these kind of pens, stacked up one on top of each other, eating slop that we feed them, and clearly. And if the animal uprising is teaching us anything, is there is a lot more intelligence to all animals than we are giving them credit for, I think. Now, going back to the specifics of this story, we've got someone who attempted to steal this originally. So okay, maybe they were going to melt it down, but it's a rare thing. But do you think, maybe you can find this material that you're going to melt it down for somewhere else, this copper, whatever it's made of. But why risk the special place in HE double hockey stick? Because that's where you're going to go if you steal this statue.
Yeah, it's like a memorial to this cool pig that children enjoy. Yeah, it's probably not worth it, but this isn't going to be the only story we talk about tonight where someone's where someone's willing to risk a lot for what's probably some not that valuable metal. There's a part of Francis the Pig's story that I want to highlight here. The news clip we heard focused on his escape and his evasion of capture for several months, but it didn't talk about what actually became of Francis. And this is actually a tragic end to his story. So he jumps over the fence. He escapes the kill floor. He's on the run for several months. People are reporting sightings. They're trying to track him down. As winter's coming, the people hunting him started to think, like, I don't know if he's going to be all right in the winter. They ended up getting a hunter to shoot Francis with a tranquilizer gun, a dart, I guess. And it worked. They found him. They hit him with the dart. He passed out. They brought him back to the farm or wherever they bring him. But it turned out he got an infection from the tranquilizer dart, and that's what killed him.
Yeah, that's tragic. It's interesting to think of. I haven't seen this farm that he was living in. We don't have those specifics or details, but what were the conditions like there that Francis felt the need to have to escape? Like, I've got to get out of here now. Did Francis have the intuition of, I'm going to be slaughtered here for food?
He was basically being led to the slaughter. The area he escaped from is literally referred to as the kill floor. So I think you can imagine what happens there. And I think Francis has probably spent the last several months seeing his friends one by one get converted into bacon.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but I mean, for him to come back and then to die 2 days later, it's just because what were they going to do with him when they brought him back?
Yeah,
were they
just
still going to kill him?
And what did they? And then even after he died from the infection, they probably still just like converted him into food, I guess. I don't know if they would do that, but
or were they looking at it like this tenacious pig has done a miraculous thing here, and we've now brought him back. Let's keep him alive, keep him as a full-time pet. Is that maybe they were thinking that? I don't know.
Use it for marketing or something. People people were writing essays and writing letters and celebrating Francis the escaped pig for a while. So maybe they thought, he's going to be our mascot. And yeah, it's just a sad ending. I want to move on to one other animal related story before we get into the rest of before we get into stairs and dumb criminals, as we're going to very shortly. This one we'll be quick with. It's I'll call this story Edmonton's House of Horrors for Cats. In Edmonton, animal protection officers conducted a search of a home which resulted in the seizure of a bizarre mix of creatures. This just happened last week, and listen to this and pay close attention to the poor cat's involvement. If you think Francis the Pig has a sad story, man, it sounds like this cat just escaped one.
The city's Animal Protection Unit recently rescued more than 80 snakes from an Edmonton home. The city says August 20th it searched a house and found 83 snakes, a gecko, a tarantula, and 2 cats. It says the majority of snakes were emaciated and in poor health. The city representative called their condition deeply concerning. Since being rescued, the animals have been provided appropriate housing, food, and medication. The city says it is investigating whether to lay charges.
I hazard to guess why they had 80 snakes and geckos and 2 cats, but I can't help but think that these cats got a story to tell at the end of this.
It's always that thing that you wonder. So a lot of times, I know with my cat, I wish he could speak English to me so that I could get to the bottom of some things or explain some things in a way he can understand. Where there's times where he's meowing for his food, but it's not his time to eat yet. And I'm like, you know what? It's not happening. Doesn't matter how much you meow at me. It's not happening right now. It's happening at the same time every night that it happens. But he still, when I walk into the kitchen, he meows and meows. He wants his wet food. But I just want to be able to tell him in English, please.
Ken Tiggs,
The
give it
more
a
of you
break.
meow, the less I want to feed you. But so this is a situation where I wish, but then there's lots of other times where I'm so glad that my cat doesn't understand English because, you know.
You get your ears boxed. If it could talk back, I'm sure Ken Tiggs would have some stuff.
Well,
he'd love
what
to
would
say
he
to you.
tell people that come to visit? Like, you wouldn't believe what this guy gets up to and no one else is around.
Yeah, that's a good point. But in this case, do you like, would a snake, especially the kind of snakes people would have as pets, would they not be predators of cats? I guess unless if it's a small cat. I'm just when I hear this story, I'm thinking, how the hell did those two cats manage to not get eaten by snakes or choked to death as the snakes wrapped around them while the geckos
Were the
watched?
snakes totally loose, though, in the house? Do we know that information?
There's 80 of them. So they must get loose sometime. I don't know if they were totally loose, but it did say they were emaciated. So maybe the snakes just weren't in great shape.
It sounds like they're all pretty much on the verge of death. So
I don't know. I just feel like those poor cats had to run the gauntlet for the last several years before animal control showed up.
yeah, I'm glad somebody reported this situation to the authorities so that these animals could be saved, because it's the kind of thing where, I mean, we don't know who this individual is that lives there, that had all these animals suffering in there. We don't know what their circumstances were, what led to all this, what their motivations were. So there's a lot of things that could be explained if we had a background of the person.
Yeah. One thing I do know about snakes is that and I just want to touch on this before we take our break. When I was a kid, there were grass snakes. They're little thin green snakes. In my neighborhood, when I lived in Cape Breton as a kid, the grass snakes were everywhere. Like, it seemed like every day you would find a grass snake just slithering around in the grass. I was just thinking about it recently. I haven't seen one in like 30 years. Do you know what I mean by a grass snake?
I do know what you mean by a grass snake.
Have you seen one in the last 30 years?
I have.
Okay, maybe there's just a lot of them in Cape Breton and not in the rest of the country that I masquerade in.
Well, do you spend a lot of time in the grass outside of your yard?
I probably do.
Okay.
I walk my dog a lot, and sometimes I'll just go in the grass,
I just go in it.
stand there.
You just mist into the grass and disappear into some kind of a cavernous void.
I certainly don't spend the kind of time in the grass nowadays that I did pre-internet, pre-YouTube, like being old and tired all the time. So maybe that's a part of it. But anyway, enough about snakes, enough about animals for now. Let's take our first break. And when we come back, as promised, we will unpack our first duo of stories related specifically to stairs. Who would have thought stairs would pop up so much in the weird news reports last week?
You know what? It's about damn time.
Handsome Aaron Airport. I put a lot of effort into the cover art for the Keep Canada Weird episodes. The next story is this episode's cover art's namesake. This is a wild story about stairs. It's a wild story about stairs on a car. Let me tell you a little bit about it. In Mississauga, police pulled over a motorist after she was spotted driving down a busy street with an entire metal staircase straddling the roof of her Mazda car. The 22-year-old woman has been charged with careless driving, though police admit they're baffled by the case. Listen to the story of the stairs on that car in Mississauga.
A strange moment in Mississauga was caught on video showing a driver carrying a staircase. Take a look.
How can you drive like this? How? This is not safe. What's the license plate?
How does this even happen? Peel police say they stopped the vehicle driving along Queensway on Tuesday afternoon. Further investigation revealed that the vehicle reversed into a building near Dixie and Queensway, which resulted in the stairs being released from the building and attaching to the car. A 22-year-old woman from Woodbridge has been charged with careless driving. And for more on what exactly happened here, we're joined by Constable Tyler Bell-Morena from Peel Police. Looking at this video, it's a full staircase on a car. How does that happen?
You know what? We all have the same question. That was puzzling. They say policing is a front seat ticket to the greatest show on earth. And we're fortunate in this case, no one was injured, so we can laugh a little bit about it. What we learned after this woman was stopped and investigated is that in a more industrial location over near Dixie and Queensway, she backed into that staircase. How? We're not really sure. What led to that? Not really sure. That staircase became attached to her car as an interesting accessory, and rather than stop and call for help, she thought it was okay to maybe make it home. We're not really sure.
Did she know that there was a staircase on her roof?
There's no way she didn't know something was up. That vehicle was pretty extensively damaged. Her curtain airbags were deployed as well. And many motorists tried to flag this individual down. So to my surprise and everyone's surprise, alcohol or drugs were not considered a factor here.
Oh man, that's a wild one. I didn't realize that the airbags were also deployed. But for people who haven't seen the cover art or have not watched the news story, can you try to explain exactly how these stairs are like straddled upon the vehicle? Like paint a picture for us.
Well, they're literally a staircase, a metal staircase, just
With a
on
handrail
top,
and all.
with a handrail and everything, on just sitting on top of the car.
And not just the staircase, it's also like the landing that's on top of the staircase.
Yeah, the whole thing. The whole thing
almost-
is just on top of the car.
It almost looks like it was maybe like an emergency exit near like on a building or something, and she backed into it to the point that it broke the emergency exit like off of the building. It landed on the car somehow. And why she decided to, rather than like stop and deal with it there, she just decided to drive on a busy street, like going home with like a I don't know, it looks like it's about 15 feet long stairs on her vehicle. There's quite a few videos of other motorists who are filming the vehicle, like trying to understand what's happening, honking their horns, trying to get her to pull over. And just as we heard that cop say, in the absence of alcohol or drugs, I have no idea what would compel her to just keep driving.
It seems like she just decided, you know what? I'm just going to deal with it when I get home.
Maybe people have this kind of fight or flight response to a car accident, and to fight would be to like get out and deal with it. Flight would be, I guess, driving home with the stairs on your car.
I guess so. I mean, we don't have the woman to tell her side of the story. There was no drugs or alcohol involved. And the airbags were deployed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find that the craziest part, that the airbags were also kind of involved in this situation.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You just said we don't have her side of the story. She's a 22-year-old who did this. Could you imagine how amazing of an interview it would be if we could get her on the show to just tell us what happened? I know it'll never happen, but right now I can't imagine anyone I'd rather interview tonight with you than this 22-year-old who is dealing with a careless driving charge as a result of this.
Right. When I first was reading this story, I imagined it being like a 90-year-old woman. But she's 22.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't high. I'm like, she's got to be on meth or whatever, crack or something. There has to be something intense involved here.
Yeah.
But there's not. It's just, I got my license legally and I backed into a staircase and drove home with the staircase.
Yeah, and there's no way that she wouldn't have known it's on the car. The front of the staircase, like what would be like the landing at the top of the staircase, is it's like kind of hanging over the front of their car. So it would be in view through your windshield. And then the rear window is completely covered by the stairs because they hang all the way down onto the road. They're like scraping across the road. So it would also be like it'd be visible out your front or back window. People around you are honking. Your airbags have been deployed. It would also be very dark in your car because everything would be blocked by, like, there'd be no light coming in because of the stairs. I can only imagine she had some type of mental break, which led to her not dealing with the car accident when it happened. All things considered, though, is this not an amazing weird news story from Canada relating to stairs?
I think the weirder part of this story is what led up to her backing into the staircase, because
she's probably on her phone.
No. I think, when you watch like an 80s high school movie, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and there's just all these shenanigans that they're getting into and adventure and hijinks, and they're trying to solve some kind of a thing like Adventures in Babysitting, movies like that. And if you were to join the main characters 3/4 of the way through the movie, and they're just in the middle of a problem, and they just happen to like these staircases on the car would make a lot more sense if we saw the first 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah, like and the incredible effort she's been going through to try to raise enough money to save the dance hall or like something. It's I think you're maybe right. We're just seeing like 60% of the way through an 80s teen comedy, and it's through our lens. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. This is a misunderstanding. In fact, she probably was doing something heroic.
Yeah. I think we shouldn't paint this young driver with a certain brush. I think we should absolutely keep an open mind here, and hopefully she reaches out and comes on the show.
To get one weird news story from Canada related to stairs in the past week, even that is a bit of a challenge. To get two, it's almost a miracle. We have two. Last week, a world record was broke in Canada, and it relates to stairs. In Orleans, Ontario, Hellcat Jafar set a new Guinness World Record after climbing 111,285 steps on a stairmaster within a period of 24 hours, surpassing the previous record of 108,887.
Okay, you're at hour. Step after step, hour after hour, Hellcat Jaffer is climbing his way to the top of the record books.
I don't feel anything right now. I'm cramping up.
Inside the Good Life Fitness, where he works in Orleans, Jaffer is attempting to break the world record for most steps on a stairmaster in 24 hours. He needs more than 108,000.
The end was like, all right, it's showtime, and there's no way that I can disappoint this crowd. But the crowd gave me lots of motivation.
Our medical staff was surprised by how well he was doing, and just to see after a certain point it becomes a mental battle, and you could just see the determination on his face, and it's something very admirable.
Family, friends, and members of the community cheering him on for hours. And then, with the clock winding down, a new world record.
My goal was to go to 112, 114, but I fell a little bit short of 111, but still good enough for a world record.
Along the way, Jaffer raising money with proceeds going towards the Boys and Girls Club of Ottawa.
I'm always interested in the strange things that Guinness holds a world record for. The most stairs walked in 24 hours. I didn't think there was a world record for that, but I never would have imagined someone could walk 111,000 stairs in any length of time continuously. That ends up being 6,937 flights of stairs. That's absolutely bananas.
Wow. It's impressive. I can't imagine how his legs felt after that. And like the next day,
the way he described it, I read quite a bit of we saw the little clips or heard the little clips there, but there was more written about him, and he described it becoming his legs were just numb after several hours, and then it became just more like of a mental thing, and to do it for 24 hours straight without sleep, just this guy, his name is Hellcat. What a cool name! But he must his legs must just be in absolute perfect shape.
Well, he looks like he's in peak physical condition. And we didn't see him with without his clothes on, but we certainly can tell, he's a guy who works out a lot and is in very good shape.
I'm just surprised you can get to that point though, even being in great shape. But I guess there are marathon runners that could probably run for 24 hours straight. I couldn't run for 4 minutes straight.
And I'm sure he trained specifically to be able to accomplish this feat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he probably knew what he had to do and did that, and then was as ready as you possibly can be to achieve this.
It's pretty amazing. Like almost 7,000 flights of stairs. That is nuts. Like when you actually think of that.
You know what would be a better way to do it, though? It's too bad that he had to do it on one of those mechanical stairmaster machines. You know, it kind of takes a little bit of it away. You think?
Yeah, absolutely. But you need to be going up the whole time. Like what would be cool is, you run up the CN Tower or something, but that's not enough stairs. He would need to run up the CN Tower over and over and over again. But going down the CN Tower, I don't think would count.
It wouldn't count. So he'd have to go up, take the elevator down, and then go up, and then take the elevator down.
And I guess the problem with that is this world record is how many you've done in 24 hours. So maybe he's done that calculation, being like, unless they shut down the elevator for everyone except me, it's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, he would have to do it this way. It's just unfortunate that there's not an endless staircase somewhere, maybe sitting on top of somebody's car, that he could, walk up and down on.
That's a good point.
Maybe that's what she was doing, bringing him an actual staircase.
To assist? She read about this guy.
She's like, you don't want to do it on that. You want to do it on a real one. I got one for you.
Racing through traffic. Maybe. Well, you know what? She was in Mississauga. I'm not sure where Orleans, Ontario is, but these are two weird Canadian news stories related to stairs, both occurring in Ontario. That is like the eclipse of weird Canadian news stories related to stairs.
Yeah, and it's shocking that it's taking us this long to finally talk about stairs. And should we open up the phone lines for any listeners who have a stair story?
I never thought tires would take off. We called out for tire stories. We were inundated with them. I think there's more to say about tires, because then it's stories about vehicles and transportation. I just don't know if there's the depth of stories related to stairs. But go ahead, call out to listeners.
Okay, listeners of Keep Canada Weird, we are officially calling out for stair stories. So if you have a weird story about stairs, we want to hear it. So go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact, leave a voicemail telling us your weird stair story.
Let's see what happens. While listeners think about a weird stair story from their past, let's take our second and final break. When we get back, we have two dumb Canadian criminal stories, both coming out of Winnipeg. Stairs in Ontario, dumb Canadian criminals in Winnipeg. It's a week of duos. After this break. Handsome Aaron Airport. I love stories related to dumb Canadian criminals. We got two head scratchers tonight. Do you want to hear about someone getting their butt kicked for trying to steal a car? Or do you want to hear about the theft of something even more bizarre than a statue of a pig?
Repeat that, please.
Do you want to hear the story of a fella getting his butt kicked for trying to steal a car? Or do you want to hear a moron stealing something more ridiculous than the statue of a pig?
Let's start with violence.
All right, let's do it. Michael Prince is a self-proclaimed career thief from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and he claims to have stolen over $1 million in goods during his shoplifting career. But after a failed car theft at Dino's Grocery Mart, he ended up on the receiving end of a brutal beating. And now he's suing the store and its employees. Listen to the story of that car theft beatdown in Winnipeg.
A man who claims he was beaten up after trying to steal a car at a Winnipeg grocery store is now suing the staff there. 36-year-old Michael Prince is seeking an unspecified amount in damages against Dino's Food Mart, an owner and 8 employees. In court documents, Prince says the amount of force used against him was excessive, and he was left with skull fractures, PTSD, and now suffers permanent hearing and vision impairment. The lawsuit says Prince first stole a jacket with a key fob from the store, then triggered the car's alarm when he tried to make off with the vehicle. That's when, he alleges, employees rushed outside, dragged him from the vehicle, and punched and kicked him and hit him in the head with a hammer. None of the claims have been tested in court, and no statements of defense have been filed.
So this actually touches on like a kind of a controversial and an emerging issue here in Canada. I don't know if you saw last week in the news, there was a fella who was arrested for beating up a home invader, defending himself.
Yeah, he was
against
charged. Yeah.
Yeah, charged. This is a bit different because this isn't them being charged. This is them being sued civilly. The guy in the news last week was actually charged with like assault and a few other things. But I maybe I'm simple or something, but I just feel like if you're stealing someone's stuff and they get you, that's kind of like a part of the deal. But then again, there's a hammer involved, and that does sound like a bridge too far. I think like where did they go too far? Maybe like they should have pulled him out of the car, maybe hit him once or twice.
Yeah, a couple of shots. Definitely you don't want to, because there has to be some kind of physical kind of subduing of this individual. So yeah, a couple of punches here and there. But when you have, I don't know how many people it was, but you have several people, obtaining one person, beating him with a hammer definitely wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah, that's they went too far. Let's move on from this one. This isn't the only dumb Canadian crime. This one is too violent. So let's move on to one truly bizarre and better suited for a Keep Canada Weird discussion. We're going to stick around in Winnipeg, Manitoba, a city that seems to only have weird things happening. In Winnipeg's Garden City neighborhood, residents are left scratching their heads after someone in a silver van went on a spree ripping downspouts off homes. At least 10 houses were hit within minutes, and the baffling crime has left people wondering why anyone would steal something with so little resale value as a used downspout. Here's the story of the downspout thefts that have plagued Winnipeg.
This is stupid. This is ridiculous.
Harrison Mariano couldn't believe what he saw when he checked the security footage of his Garden City area home Tuesday afternoon.
I can't believe it. This is my first time to see like this.
In broad daylight, a silver minivan pulls up and the driver gets out, walks to the house across the lane, and rips off the downspouts, stuffing them in the van before walking to Mariano's home and doing the same thing.
It's really sad if you think of it. Why a person can do that? It's nothing. It's nonsense.
His wasn't the only house hit.
I thought it was a prank or something.
Rick Morera lives next door and he says the exact same thing happened to him.
I have no words. Like, it's mind-boggling why someone would want to take a downspout.
Just walking down this back lane, I've counted at least 10 other homes that have had the same thing happen. Their downspouts ripped off and stolen. Morera believes whoever did this is collecting the aluminum to sell for scrap, but he says they'd need to steal a lot of downspouts to make any substantial money.
I don't understand the thought process of doing this. Like, if you take 10, like what are you getting out of 10 total downspouts?
And police confirmed to CTV News a report had been received, but provided few details, saying simply it will be investigated. Mariano hopes they'll catch whoever's doing this.
This is just insane. This is, they don't care.
Now, John, I asked both of these homeowners what they would say to this individual if they had the chance to speak with them. And they both told me they would have been happy to help this person out financially with a couple bucks had they just asked. It would have saved them the hassle of fixing their eaves troughs and replacing the downspouts.
We should maybe tell, like, for people who are listening that aren't homeowners, like, I wonder if everybody knows what a downspout is.
It'd be worth explaining. Yeah, it's basically just it's connected to your gutters and it just channels the water out away from your house, right?
Yeah, it's just like it's made out of aluminum and it's like kind of like looks like a pipe and it's connected to a house and it just comes from the roof down to the ground, and when it rains, that's what the water passes through. It's made of aluminum. They're very light, and aluminum isn't a valuable metal. When you actually do the math, a regular downspout, which would go like again from the ground to the top of the house, considering its value as scrap aluminum, each one would be worth probably like a little less than $1. So you would need, but to replace it or repair it, you'd have to go to like, Home Depot or whatever and buy it. It would probably cost you $50 to replace it. But as scrap metal, it's probably worth, $1, which makes this an absolutely ridiculous crime. You could fill a van with downspouts and you'd end up having, $25, $20 maybe. And then how do you explain at the scrapyard why you have all these downspouts?
Yeah, especially after the story is on the news the night before.
What do you think of them kind of opening the door at the end to this idea of like, if they had to just come to our door? Do you think this thief is going to knock on the door and say, like, listen, I'm the guy who's going around stealing the downspouts, and like your block is next, but if you guys want to throw in, give me, I don't know, $3 a house, I won't steal all your downspouts tonight. Would you give the guy $3 to buy protection?
To buy protection. I mean, at that point, where does it end though? At that point, so I give you $3 now, and then next week you're knocking on my door again. Like, listen, I am going to come for your downspout. So I want $6 now.
Yeah. Do you want to make a deal with a dragon like that? The guy who would steal your downspouts, would you trust him? Here's $3. You go do your thing. Don't take my downspout. Would you trust him to not go back on his word? Because I feel like the downspout thief in Winnipeg is about the lowest criminal. That's like maybe a slight step above from stealing from like one of the where you put the coins in for charity at like a coffee shop or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a little step above that.
Yeah, it's a little step above that. But there's a bit more. That's actually way, way worse.
Yeah.
Because when you're stealing from a charity donation bin, I mean, that's almost as bad as stealing a pig statue.
Yeah, it's akin to like breaking into a church or something. It's just like an attack on society. This whole thing with stealing the downspouts, it seems more like vandalism. Like it seems like this would be something a teenager would do.
But vandalism is more random, right? It's more like, oh, they knocked over my barbecue, and oh, they got my lawn gnome. Like that's vandalism. But
yeah, or they tore my downspout off my house. Some teenagers were running through here and they ripped the downspouts off. They thought it was funny.
But this seems very organized. So obviously,
yeah, they have a video of a van stopping and the guy getting out and just yanking it off the house and sticking it in his van.
Yeah, yeah. Other than, selling this aluminum for a small amount of money, I mean, maybe they're building something.
Yeah.
Like a robot.
It could be useful. Halloween's coming.
Yeah, they're working on their costume.
They're gutter man.
Yeah,
No, it could be a robot. That would actually be useful. And I've always wanted to do that, like make a robot out of like scrap metal and old computer parts and stuff. Or you could use the downspout, but you could also flatten it out and use just the scrap aluminum. Rather than selling it, you could convert it into like sheet metal, I guess, for your robot costume this year.
Yeah. Or for anything, whatever you're building. Maybe they're putting a roof on their cabin. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go steal a bunch of downspouts. It's not going to be hard for them to replace them, and it'll give me a bunch of aluminum to use for my
I guess
my bunker.
Maybe there could be more to this story. We just brought up Halloween, like it is just around the corner. Let this be a call out if any listeners of Keep Canada Weird have any Halloween themed stories, and that could be like weird news stories or weird stories related to things that happened to you at Halloween, but also Halloween stories in terms of, did you see a ghost? Do you believe in ghosts?
Are you a ghost? Are you a Frankenstein?
We would like those stories as well. I try to do a listener contributed haunted house ghost story episode each year. We didn't do one last year because of scheduling. This year we are definitely going to make it happen. So let this be an early call out to get your ghost, haunted house, Frankenstein stories into us. Go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact or click the link in this episode's description to send us a voicemail. And of course, the deal still remains. If your voice is heard on this show, I will send you a Keep Canada Weird swag pack that includes stickers. I have some keychains on the way. I still have a couple temporary tattoos that I just keep putting off applying to my face.
I think the listeners are waiting for the permanent tattoos.
Let's hope that happens. We've gone through all the weird news stories, but I do want to end with a piece of listener mail since we're on the topic. Maybe this is an attack on you or a call out of you, or it could simply be some members of Keep Canada Weird Nation kind of rallying around Norm. So if you've been listening to the last few episodes, you know that a listener named Norm upset Aaron, hurt his feelings, said some horrible things.
Even though you're handsome, stop being a clown and a goof.
Aaron wanted to ban Norm from leaving voicemails for about 6 months-ish, maybe a
year.
So that's been a little thing. That led to a listener named Jeremy last week on episode 177 phoning in support of Norm. Jeremy also spoke out against censorship on Keep Canada Weird.
Aaron, get off my lawn, airport? I don't know.
Which Aaron also is offended by, and Aaron suggested that whatever punishment Norm gets will also apply to Jeremy. Well, Aaron, you've now upset Esther. Listen to what Esther has to say about your obsession, your fetish with censorship.
Okay.
Hi, Jordan and handsome Aaron Airport. At the risk of getting myself banned, I would like to speak in defense of Jeremy. This show is interesting in part because the two of you don't always agree. There's debate and discussion. And if people are being silenced and stifled, how can we expect them to keep Canada weird? You may not agree with Jeremy, but without a diversity of opinions, Canada would be a pretty boring place. Anyway, thank you both, and keep on keeping Canada weird. Bye!
This seems like this is your battle, because I have never suggested we need to ban any of these people. So what do you say to Esther's belief that you're trampling all over our conversations and by, I guess, the fundamental principles of Canada by censoring these opinions that don't go your way?
What do I say to Esther? What do I say to Esther?
Uh-oh.
No voicemails.
Oh, I knew it.
So Norm and Jeremy, 12 months. And Esther,
oh my God,
3 years. 3-year ban to Esther. No voicemails, which means no little goodie packages, no badges, nothing.
Oh,
you're banned. No stickers, no temporary tattoos, nothing. You're banned.
Wow. Let that be a lesson to any other listeners who have opinions that go against Lord Aaron's.
Yeah. However, if anybody wants to call in about stairs, you will not get banned.
All right. I think we've done it. We've banned someone else. We've celebrated the week's weird news.
We banned someone else.
Let's put a bow on this. Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe, Bonaparte, until next time.
If you're driving, you hear a crash, and things just don't seem right, hit the gas. Deal with it later.
And Jordan, until next time, don't think that you can't get banned either. So be careful. Toe the line.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, you, Nicole, for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. It helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.